All right, here we go. Let's look at this. So just kind of wrote a couple notes here, things to remember when adding and subtraction or adding or subtracting fractions. They must have common denominators. We talked about that. And then when you're adding and subtracting fractions, your mixed fractions must be converted to improper fractions. So what I'm gonna try to do here is go through these screenshots. I think we did a couple of these already, but just wanted to make this little video for you to go through the rest of them. So got us a little number line here. Let's look at this problem here, number one. So we have negative 1 over 2 plus a negative 3 over 2. All right, remember the way we say we did this is you want to look at your denominators. So you see actually that there's no mixed fractions here, so we can go ahead and add these fractions. So the first thing we do is look at a denominator. When you're adding or subtracting fractions, your denominator stays the same. So I'll put that here as one of the things to remember. All right, when adding or subtracting fractions, denominator stays the same. We add or subtract numerator. All right. So coming back over here, coming back to the draw tool here. So both of these denominators are 2. So the final answer we know is going to have a denominator of 2. What we don't know is what this numerator is going to be. So what we can do is, since they have common denominators, what we're really doing is adding, right, there's the plus sign, these numerators. So what we have is negative 1 plus a negative 3. Here's our timeline. If we call this 0 here, this is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5 is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is here. Okay, we're starting on negative 1. Here's negative 1. Plus means we're going to go to the right. But since the sign on the second number is negative, we're going to switch which direction we go. So instead of going right, we're going to go left. So we'll start here. We're going to go left 1, 2, and 3 times. That will put us here. And that value is negative 4. Okay. So this is going to be, well, let's do it here. This is negative 4 here. All right, so let's bring that up. Now our fraction is negative 4 over 2. They also told us to write the answer in simplest form. So this is the answer, but it's not in simplest form. Remember, the way we simplify a fraction is we find the greatest common factor between the numerator and denominator, and we divide both numbers by that. So is it the factors? Yeah, that's right. The greatest common factor. Okay, so I'll put that on the front page as well. Let's come here. All right, we're going to say simplify fractions by finding the greatest common factor, or the GCF, between numerator and denominator. All right, so coming back over here, Let's find our greatest common factor. So we've got a -4 here. So this is our GCF work down here, right? And we got a 2 here. There's the numerator, there's the denominator. So the factors, and don't worry about the negative, actually, I should have told you that. We know that the negative sign is going to carry over to whatever this answer is. So let's just put the negative sign here. And what we'll do is we can erase that negative sign while we're finding these factors. Okay, so what are the factors of 4? Factors are numbers that multiply by each other to get this number here. So obviously everything starts off with 1, and 1 times the number, right? So 1 times 4 is 4. So we know 1 and 4 are factors, but then also 2 times 2 gives us 4. So the factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4. And 2 only has 2 factors, just 1 and 2. So we look at these lists. We look for the greatest common factor, and that's going to be 2 here. Once you have found your greatest common factor, you're going to take that and you're going to divide. You're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by that greatest common factor in order to simplify it. So -4 divided by 2 is a -2. 2 divided by 2 is just 1. And the answer there is -2. All right, so that's everything for number 1. All right, let's take this slide and let's duplicate it. And we will erase everything. Let's see if I can. Yeah, this might be better. All right, I'll try to work number 2 and number 3 on this one slide here. Okay. Let's erase these as well. All right, back on the draw tool. And we're on black. All right, here we go. All right, number 2 says -1 3/8 plus 3/4. First thing to notice is this is a mixed fraction. So we need to convert this mixed fraction to an improper fraction. The way you convert a mixed fraction to an improper fraction, let's say mixed to improper, you're gonna write the mixed fraction first. All right, to get the improper fraction, the denominators will stay the same, so the denominator carries over. The new numerator is going to be the denominator times the whole number. Oh, the sign stays the same too, so let's just put that negative there. Okay, the new numerator is going to be the denominator times the whole number times the numerator, plus the numerator. So it's going to be the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator, which gives us, and I'll put this in brackets or parentheses just to keep that negative sign there away. So this is 8 times 1, which is 8, plus 3 more is 11. So that's 11 over 8. And then let's bring that negative sign over. So -11 over 8. So this problem becomes -11 over 8 plus 3/4. Now the next thing to notice here is that the denominators are not the same. How do we find common denominators of fractions? We do that by finding the least common multiple, right? And then once we find that least common multiple, we turn both, we set the new denominators equal to that least common multiple. So let's write that here. To find, let's say to make sure fractions have common, actually, let's put this under the when adding or subtracting fractions, they must have common denominators. Right here we could say common denominators. Let's change that to a, there we go. Common denominators are found by finding least common multiple of both original denominators. I spelled that wrong. All right, the least common multiple. So let's come here, 8 and 4. We need to find the least common multiple between 8 and 4. We'll do that down here. Least common multiple. Here's 8. Here's 4. I'm just going to list the first 5 multiples. 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40, right? 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, 8 times 4, and 8 times 5. Do the same thing for 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. So we have the least common multiple. So look at this list. What's the smallest number on both lists that exist on both lists, right? So we know 16 is on both, but it's not the least common multiple. 16 is a common multiple, but the least common multiple is the number 8. So now these two fractions are going to be, when we rewrite them, the new denominator that we're going to use is 8, which is not new for that first one, but it is new for the second one. Signs stay the same. So now, in order to go from the old denominator to the new, we did nothing. So this denominator stayed the same, so the numerator will stay the same. How do we go from this denominator to that denominator? Well, we multiply it by 2. And remember, if we do it to the bottom, as long as we do it to the top, then that fraction stays the same. It's an equivalent fraction. 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 2 is 6. So now the problem we're solving is negative 11 over 8 plus 6 over 8. All right? So, just block that off there. So let's come down here, negative 11 over 8 plus 6 over 8. We have common denominators now. So the answer is going to be something over 8. Now we just need to find this numerator. The way we'll find this numerator is we will just add the numerators, right? So it'll be negative 11 plus 6. So we're going to start on negative 11, and then we're going to add 6. So let's say this is 0. So negative 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's negative 5. Negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10 is here. All right. Let's come here and get this pen. All right, so all right, we'll do it like this. We're starting on negative 11 here, so that would be here. to go to this plus sign says we go to the right. The sign on the 6 is positive, so we're still going right. And we're going to go right 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That puts us right on -5. So -11 plus 6 is -5. And there's our answer. And it's already in simplified form. Okay, and number 3. Let's get a new slide here. So it's got to be an easier way to do this. Give me a second to clear this slide. All right. The third one is going to be this one. 4 plus -7 over 2. This is a whole number. So that whole number, if you see it by a number by itself, it's just over 1. So 4 over 1 plus -7 over 2. The denominators are not the same, so let's find the common denominators. We'll list out the multiples there. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. The least common multiple is 2. So our new fractions are going to be both over 2. So I'll rewrite it under here. It's going to be something over 2 plus something over 2. This negative sign can stay there, actually. All right, and we can keep our parentheses. All right, 1, how do we get 1 to 2? We multiplied it by 2. So do the same thing in the numerator. So the new numerator is 4 times 2, which is 8. 2 going to 2 stays the same. So it's just like multiplying by 1. So we did nothing. So -7. So now here's the problem here. Both denominators are common. So the answer is going to have a 2 as the denominator. And the new numerator is going to be 8 plus -7. So let's evaluate that over here. 8 plus a -7. So here we're going to start on the 8. So if this is 0 right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's call this one 10. All right, so start at 8, 6, 7, 8. Here's 8. The plus sign says go right, but the negative on the second number says switch directions. So we're actually going to go left 7 units. Starting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That puts us at +1. 8 plus -7 is 1. 1/2 is the final answer. Okay. All right, so decimals. Let's look at that. Let's look at these. I think the best way to kind of look at this is you have a negative number plus another negative number. So when you're adding 2 negative numbers, so the answer is going to be a bigger negative number, basically. So let's ignore the signs. Let's get the magnitude of the answer. We know the answer is going to be negative. We know that. And it's going to be a bigger number than 3.3 and 2.7. So let's add 3.3 plus 2.7. 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. Bring that decimal down. So the answer is negative 6.0. So I guess the thing to know here is when you're adding decimals, when you're adding numbers with decimals, you want to line your decimals up when you're doing the sum. So let's say line decimal points up when adding or subtracting numbers with decimals. Okay. Coming back over here, let's do number 5 real quick. This is a 4. You don't see the decimal point, but really it's 5.35 plus 4.0. And since okay. So now this is a negative. This first number is negative, right? And then we're adding a positive. So when you're adding two numbers that are different signs, the answer is going to take the sign of the bigger number in magnitude. And so then all you have to do is just say the answer is going to be negative because 5.35 is bigger than 4. And then the final answer is going to be the big number minus the small number. That's going to be the magnitude of your final answer. So coming down here, we'll say 5.35. And then we're going to subtract. We got a line of decimals up. 4.0. And we can add another 0 there. All right, so 5 minus 0 is 5. 3 minus 0 is 3. 5 minus 4 is 1. So the answer is negative 1.35. And we said negative 6.0 was the answer there. And this one, we have a positive plus a negative. Again, we're adding two numbers that have different signs. So the answer is going to take the sign of the bigger number, which is this one. And then all we have to do is subtract the bigger number from the smaller number. So we're looking at 1.65 minus, let's line of decimals up, 0.9, and we can put a 0 there. 5 minus 0 is 5. Bring that decimal down. 6 minus 9 we can't do, so we can borrow from here. So it's 16 minus 9, and that'll give us a 7 there. And we got 0 minus 0, so that's 0. So the answer is a positive 0.75. All right, so that's it for those problems. Let's look at this one. Find the sum. So look, we need common denominators there. So let's find them here. 5 and 10. Let's list our multiples. 5, 10, 15, 10, 20, 30. The common multiple is 10 here. So this is going to be, we'll rewrite this as something over 10 plus something over 10. So this one, the 10, is we did nothing to it, so we can just keep the numerator. This one we have to multiply it by 2, because 5 times 10 gives us 10. 5 times 2 gives us 10. 1 times 2 gives us 10, so that's 2 tenths. So now we know that the final answer is going to be something over 10, and that something is going to be negative 7 plus 2. Negative 7 plus 2 is negative 5. So negative 5 over 10. But you see, this is not in in its simplest form, because we can factor out a 5. 5 is the greatest common factor between 5 and 10. So originally we did the least common multiple between 5 and 10. Now let's come over here and find the greatest common factor between 5 and 10. So what are the factors? Let me erase that. Okay. What are the factors of 5? Well, the fact 1 and 5, that's it. What about 10? Well, we got 1 and 10. Then we also have 2 times 5, right? So the greatest common factor is 5. 5 is on both those lists. So we're going to divide the top and the bottom by 5, and that'll give us, I'll write it down here, negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And there's our final answer for that one. So let's see if I can just do this. All right, what about this one? Negative 3/4 plus negative 1/3. So we got 4 and 3. Let's find the least common multiple. Least common multiple for 3 and 4. 3, 6, 9, 12. This is 4, 8, 12, 16. The least common multiple is 12. So we'll rewrite this fraction as negative something over 12 plus, got another negative sign, negative something over 12. How do we get this 4 to 12? We multiplied it by 3. So I'm going to do a dot 3. Dot is the same thing as multiplication. So 3 times 3 gives us our new numerator, which is 9. This one, how do we get from 3 to 12? We multiplied it by 4. So do the same thing to the numerator. 4 times 1, which is 4. Now we have common denominators, so the answer is going to be something over 12. What is that something? It's going to be negative 9 plus negative 4. Negative 9 plus negative 4 is even bigger number. So we're adding 2 negative numbers. That's going to make us even more negative. And that'll actually get us to negative 13. So the answer is negative 13 over negative, I'm sorry, over 12. Let me take that negative sign right there. Over 12. There's your answer for the second one. And what about this third one? Oh, decimals. Negative plus a positive. The answer is going to take the sign of the bigger number in magnitude, which is the second one. So the answer is positive. So find the difference between the two digits, and that'll be your answer. So we're going to actually do 4.3 minus 2.6. We're going to line it up this way. 3 minus 6 I can't do, but I can borrow here. That's 13 minus 6, which will give us 7. Bring your decimal down. 3 minus 2 is 1. There's your answer. Your answer is 1.7. Alrighty. Let's look at this one. All right, what did this say? The table shows the annual profits in millions of dollars of an online gaming company from 2013 to 2017. This is the profit in millions of dollars. Positive numbers represent gains and negative numbers represent losses. That makes sense. Which statement describes the profit over the 5-year period? Profit. Okay, the profit over the 5-year period. So the first year we had a negative 1.7. Then going to the second year, we lost another 4.75. Then we gained 1.7. Then we gained 0.8. Then we gained 3.2. So what does that math look like? Oh, there it is. They're showing us right here. So you start with negative. So the first thing you did was you lost 1.7. So there. And what's the next thing you do? They're adding the negative 4.75 loss that you had in the second year. Then you're adding the gain of 1.7, adding the gain of 0.8, adding the gain of 3.2. So this is what they're talking about when they say write the sum. All right. Now, what they did on here is They did the commutative property of addition. That means you can just move stuff around. So they moved this 1.7 next to this other 1.7. Oh, and the reason why they did that is because this first 1.7 is negative and the second one is positive. So that means they're going to cancel out and go to zero. That, so that's why they did that. And so now you're just left with three numbers: negative 4.75, 0.8, and 3.2, which are here. Okay, so coming down to the three digits. Now addition property of zero, that's how they got rid of that zero. Now they're going to do the associative property, means you can associate these two numbers together. So that's why the 0.8 and the 3.2 are in parentheses together. Then add the 0.8 and the 3.2 to simplify your parentheses. So 3.2 plus 0.8. 8 plus 2 is 0. Bring your decimal down. Oh, 10. 0, carry the 1. And then 1 plus 3 is 4. So that's where your 4 comes from right there. All right. And then you got negative 4.75 plus 4. So we have a negative number plus a positive number. So that the answer is going to take the sign of the bigger number in magnitude, negative, and then you just find the difference between the two. So 4.75 minus 4.00. I just added 0.00 to this 4. And 5 minus 0 is 5. 7 minus 0 is 7. Bring the decimal. 4 minus 4 is 0. And there's your negative 0.75. And so it said it was in millions of dollars. So $0.75 million is the same thing as $750,000. So that's what's going on there. 0.75 million is equal to 750K, which is equal to $750,000. So millions of dollars, thousands of dollars, and dollars. That's what's going on there. All right. And I think it was like one more. Oh, this one, the repeated reasoning, evaluate the expression. The way you're going to do this one is basically you see all of them have 20 as the denominator, so the denominators are common. So really we could just look at, you see how it's going odd to even, right? First of all, okay, positive, negative, and then add a negative. Positive, negative, that's the pattern. And then if you notice, the negative numbers are the even digits. The positive numbers are the odd digits. So if I just group the odd next to the even, if I say like I group these two, and then I group this odd and even, and then I'm not showing the odd here, but I'm going to just say it's, I'm going to write it just for the sake of this point I'm making. If I group the odd and the even, group the odd and the even. Now what's happening is 19, so this is really just, if I add it, right, it's over 20, so it's 19 plus a negative 18, so 19 minus 18, which is just equal to 1. Then this one is 17 plus a negative 16, so 17 minus 16, which is just equal to 1. Didn't mean to put that line there. Then the next one actually is 15 minus 14. They're not showing it here, but that's what's going on, but it's going to equal 1. Then 13 minus 12 is going to equal 1. Then 11 minus 10, this is the pattern, right? 9 minus 8, 7 minus 6 is equal to 1. Now here's your 5 minus 4 right there. There's your 1. Here's your 3 plus a negative 2, so 3 minus 2 is there. That's equal to 1. And then you're left with just plus another 1, okay? So now let's add these up. So really it's just 1 plus 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 1, and then plus this final 1. So the answer is all of these are adding fractions that have the common denominator of 20. So the answer is still going to be over 20. So the answer is all these ones plus this last one right here. So I'm going to write it out. This first one, 1 plus this second one, 1 plus this third one is 1 plus this fourth one is 1 plus the fifth one is 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus this sixth one is 1, 6, 7, 8 is 9 of them, right? So there's 6, there's 7, there's 8, there's 9. And then let's add this final 10th one is here. So let's extend that. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The answer is 10 over 20. Find your least common, your greatest common factor between 10 and 20. So just to simplify that that fraction there. So greatest common factor between 10 and 20. 1 and 10. Then we got 2 and 5. So 20 is going to have all the same ones of 10. So 1, 2, 5, and 10. And it's got 4 actually. So let me put one more in there. Let me do it this way. I'll do it this way. 1 times 20 is 20. 2 times 10 is 20. 3, no, but 4, yes, because 4 times 5 is 20. So there's all your factors. Your greatest common factor, 1 is common, 2 is common, 5 is common, but 10 is the greatest common factor. So we're going to come here, we're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 10. Or you can look at it as multiplying this fraction by 10 over 10. And remember, 10 over 10 is really just equivalent to 1. So anytime you multiply anything by 1, it's still a equivalent fraction. So this top 10 divided by 10 is 1. 20 divided by 10 is 2. So your answer is 1/2. All right, I hope that helped. And I think that's all of the problems we were looking at. So I will delete these. All right, man, hope this helps.